I'm Grady. I'm a physical therapist at Cornerstone PT. Today I want to talk to you about a couple different ways that you can work on lengthening your muscles or reducing some tightness in muscles that you have beyond just some of the static stretching. So that static stretching is more of stretching your hamstrings and holding this position for 30 seconds to a minute. That can have some benefit short term in terms of reducing some of the tightness you feel, but there's increasing research coming out about other ways to stretch or other ways to lengthen some of those tight muscles, okay? Sometimes these are used as like a dynamic warm-up before activity, so moving through different ranges of motion, as well as I'm going to show you a couple eccentric exercises that can allow you to move through the full range of motion that you have available, okay? So for something like the hamstrings, there's a lot of different ways to stretch the hamstrings, whether it's bending forward, touching your toes, with your foot up on a chair or a table and bending forward, lying on your back with your leg in the air. Those are all different ways that you can stretch your hamstrings. But there's also benefit to doing some dynamic movements where you're moving into and out of that range of motion. So something with the hamstrings is commonly like you're bending forward and coming up, okay? You can do this statically in one spot, or you can walk forward as you do it as well, moving more into that direction each time. Another good one is kind of doing a hip hinge, or sometimes it's called a good morning exercise. The back is staying nice and flat, slight bend in your knees, and you're hinging forward and standing back up. As you go down, you should feel a stretch throughout the back of the hamstrings down to the back of the knee, and then you're standing up. All right, so that's one way to do different dynamic movements to help stretch or lengthen the hamstrings. Really good before activity, allows you to move through the available range that you have a little more freely. The next one I want to show you is going to be for your calves, and that's going to be a way to stretch the calves using eccentric exercises. Eccentric essentially means slowly controlling a movement against gravity. Okay, so for every movement, there's a concentric part of the movement and an eccentric part of the movement. So I'm going to show you once doing a heel raise. So I'm going to be standing off a step, going up and down, and that's going to be working my calf muscle. But I can also work on lengthening it by coming to one leg, slowly lowering my heel below the step as low as it can go, and then going back up, slowly going down. That slow motion, either with 2 feet or 1 foot at a time, moves your calf, moves the ankle joint through that large range of motion, and frequently that allows the muscle to use more of its available range of motion and reduces some of the feelings of tightness. Sometimes that can be counterintuitive, because you feel like, oh, well, I'm working my calf muscle, I'm using my calf muscle, and that's true. But by doing that slowly, going into the full depth and off of a step, that's going to allow that muscle to lengthen more in that portion that's below the step. So those are some other ways that have some good evidence to support those types of stretching, especially if you feel like, I stretch these muscles every day, I stretch, and I'm really not getting benefit. They still feel tight. Frequently that means that they're working in a way that they shouldn't be, or we're not kind of doing the best stretch for what your body needs. If you do have any questions about this or any other physical therapy questions, please give us a call.